Under our previous system of delivery, students could be taking up to 3 modules at one time. What we found with that is their attention was split between the 3 different subjects they were taking. This would mean often they were trying to prepare for assessments for 3 different subjects at one time. And we felt that that wasn't the best way to get the best from our students. When we were delivering under the old system, it could be a week in between lectures, where here we'll be seeing the students the next day. So material that we delivered, we can offer additional reading for the next day. Students can really engage in the subject, and then we can pick up the ideas the next day where they're still fresh. The advantage with this way of teaching is that because you're just teaching one group of students at a time, you can really give your focus to that group of students. You see those students for 3 hours a day for delivering lectures. However, you can be available for the rest of the day, so if they want tutorial support, if they want to discuss their essays, you can be available to them to help support them.
I think it's allowed even more opportunities for interaction and engagement, not only among themselves but also with me. So it really is the type of teaching that requires much more kind of interpersonal engagement with myself and the students, and working in groups, teamwork, thinking collaboratively. So I think it's quite advantageous actually for just developing future career skills in terms of employment. When you go in the future, you're going to need to do teamwork with lots of people.
After quite a few years of teaching in higher education, I recognised that there was a disconnect between what we were giving the students and what employers said students needed once they'd graduated. So what we were providing was quite a passive service, where the student would listen to the so-called expert at the front of the lecture theatre and then would be expected to go away and absorb that to produce a piece of work much later, which typically was an essay. So employers increasingly were saying, well, it's great because they can write, but we never need somebody to answer a question for us and write an essay in that way. They might be brilliant at writing essays, but what they're not brilliant at doing is responding to the day-to-day activity of a work environment in which you might have to create a report quickly, you might have to work in a group, you might have to be able to think on your feet, you might have to be able to show the evidence of your ability to research, and certainly 100% never an essay.
The teaching now is much more intensive. We see the students in a condensed time frame, and rather than it being delivered on a weekly basis, where there's quite a gap between the students, we now see them every day. So I can go into detail much more easily and retain the students' attention. The way that the students engage with the teaching, their attention is not distracted by a kind of a week's separation.
It helps the overall student experience. I have seen students being not simply happy, right, but actually eager to go into class, eager to do work outside of class, right, because it's not something that happens next week or in 2 weeks' time. It's right there tomorrow.
The immersive teaching method is different, but it seems to be working for a majority of the people here in Lampeter. It's definitely more intense. We have more reading and stuff to do for classes and things because we have 4 lectures on the same topic a week. It's not the same situation as in my previous years at uni where we've had an entire week between classes. So we've spent a lot more time in the library or working together in groups, working towards the next day's activity stuff. It's definitely more intensive in that respect, but we're absolutely learning more.
And thus far the results are extremely encouraging. They're, I think, threefold. One is the opportunity to have a really personalised learning experience. All our teaching is delivered because of the immersive style in small groups. So very few of our lectures and seminars take place in groups higher than 20. I think the second one is a sense of collegiality. Tutors and students work very closely together because they're in a module for 4 weeks, day in, day out. And the third, I think, is to do with contact time. it's become very aware to me, having delivered lots of open days, that lots of parents and students are very aware of the tuition fee now. And I feel that we should justify that in very tangible ways to students. They're paying that money, we need to deliver high quality education and teaching.